Welcome
iteration.
to the, what do we got? There's a Lucas and Alex Front Porch, episode number 3.
Yes.
We have our very first guest. Would you like to introduce our guest?
This is Erin Murray. She's pretty good at Strongwoman.
She's pretty good.
Yeah.
One might think she's Nadia Stowers today, but she's not. She's in fact Erin Murray.
I accidentally copied her hair.
Yeah. Well, you
Unintentional.
stole her title and her hair. Congratulations
Yikes.
to you.
Damn.
Nadia, we love you.
We like her a lot.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
No.
We like Nadia.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we're all roommates and training partners and whatnot.
Yeah, I guess if people wouldn't know, you guys literally live together. You're both going to the Arnold Pro. That's probably a first, roommates going to the Arnold Pro together.
Sure.
And
Sam and Max.
Yeah, they're roommates.
They're
I guess.
more roommates than we are.
They're interesting roommates. And I coach both of you.
Yes.
So that makes things neat.
And this is iteration 1 of Dungeons Podcast Studio. It is far from complete. Braden's sitting on the floor.
Our producer.
With the switchboard.
On the floor.
There's just a lot of little tweaks that we got to do. I mean, the room's it's so far from done, but Braden made this table. We got trying out some new audio stuff, trying out some new video stuff. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah. So today, I know you guys wanted to talk about, first off, your training for the Arnolds, plural. Except for you get to do one.
Yeah.
Just one this time. And we're going to go into predictions, because no one's really posted too many predictions for this show yet.
Sure.
So it'll be kind of fun to do. How's your training going, Lucas? How's your sweet peak?
Sweet Peak going good. On a much needed deload. We're kind of a 3 weeks up, 1 week down. That's basically the model. What is it, 5 weeks from here? 6 weeks from here?
Yeah.
So it'll probably be like a two up, 1 down, 1 up, 1 down.
Science.
Something like that. Some sports science. So we'll be back to it next week. Really the only thing I have this week is a pretty real-ish squat session. Feeling good. Just based on the events, like I knew there's a couple that I really, really need to peak for, like stuff like deadlift. It just takes time for me to build my deadlift. And compared to the best guys in the world, that is probably my biggest deficit is a deadlift. But the rest of the show is all stuff I've kind of done. And it's standard strongman, aside from the throw. But, I mean, I've done a lot of throwing, so I'm pretty happy where I'm at.
Is there anything in your peak so far that you've been pretty happy about?
Log is where it needs to be. And without doing much moving events, like especially yoke, we're setting like speed PRs on the yoke.
Right.
And the name of that event is going to be doing the yoke as efficiently as possible. So just less total time on it's probably good.
Yeah.
To just get into the dumbbells. I know it's a huge, super long time limit, but if you're just not winded from the yoke, so if you're in a really good yoke shape, you're going to be in good shape for the dumbbells.
So you're pretty pleased for that right now.
Pretty good, yeah. So the moving events, hands are pretty good. 400 a hand for max distance is going to be a trip. I don't know how that's going to go.
Meatball.
Yeah, like I know I can do it, but like how far? And I don't know how far anybody can go. I'm sure there's a couple guys that are going to impress. Like there's the Maximes of the world, but we'll get into that stuff later. Yeah, but I think my weekend will really come down to the throw and the deadlift prep.
Sure.
And both of those are on track. And those are ones where I'm shooting for middle of the pack, maybe upper middle of the pack. And that'll be fine points-wise based on the plan. So
your peak, a little different. Where are you right now in terms of your peaking? And, same follow-up question afterwards. Like what's something that you might like right now about your peak or not like?
So I just started my week 1 of my final block for Ohio. So then we'll have a kind of a weird, I guess it's a 6 weeks into the UK. So it's kind of funny right now because
Smashed together peak, right?
The shows are so close together that the timing's a little bit off, but I did just start my week 1 of the final block. Training, I think, is going okay. I'll admit I'm tired. This felt like a really quick turnaround between Worlds and these shows. I couldn't really train my first block because I was dealing with some injuries after OSG. So then when I finally got back to training, it was like 8 weeks before the Arnold Ohio. And it's just felt like a really fast prep. So I'm not unhappy with how things are going. I think they're going as well as to be expected, but I do just kind of wish I had more time.
Yeah. For those that might not know, how close is World's Strongest Woman in Ohio? It's about 14 weeks,
14
right?
weeks, yeah.
Not a lot of time to prep for the heaviest women's show in the world.
yeah. So
And I think if I could have gotten a real first training block, it would have helped a lot. That first block just didn't go great. I think fatigue and some injuries, and there were a lot of things that didn't line up. So things are coming together. But also, like 10 events is just a lot to train for.
Yeah.
You're trying to do the 2 back-to-back shows. I feel like there's so many things, and I tend to be a little bit more intentional with the shows that I pick and really try to go into each one prepared. Historically, I haven't really loved doing more than 2 shows a year because I like to be really prepared for the events that I'm going into. And that's really hard to do with a short prep and 10 events.
And on top of it, the reality is you're not a heavyweight.
No.
You got a heavyweight. You have a heavyweight pro card.
Yeah.
But you're one of those athletes, if there's 6 or more events, you're going to do really well against your own peers or even others, to be fair. But you're not really a 5-event static-y person to begin with.
Yeah, more events or more athletic events. But the Arnold historically
that.
tends to be heavier.
They don't like
tends to be
moving
very
fast
static.
at the Arnold.
Yep.
Great. So,
that's all right.
yeah. All right. So, you guys' peaks are going pretty neat, And if they're not, it's totally my fault because that's how that works. That's okay. But I guess going into the show, I guess we'll have you guys do a little bit of predictions about what's going on. I wanted Lucas to do all the women's predictions because he doesn't know any of it, and that would have been cool. But I think he'll probably not do it. You guys both want to talk about the shows together as a whole, starting with Ohio?
Yeah, so I think how it's listed over there, we have our little cheat sheet on the wall.
Yes, why don't you guys get into that?
Maybe Ohio men. I know I did most of my prep on the men. You did most of your prep on the women. I'll guess I'll start with the Ohio men. I can see it, Braden. We're okay. Thank you, producer Braden.
He's literally holding it
If
now.
you guys could see what he's doing right now, he's being very helpful. Okay, so the crew for Ohio, we got Singleton, Martins, Novikov, Thor, Tom Evans, Tom Stoltman, Oscar, Mateus, Bobby, Maxime, and Hooper.
It's a lot of names.
A lot of names, a lot of dudes.
I actually can't see it very well, if I'm being honest.
I think I think that Arnold is probably one of the most predictable shows because it's 5 events, and basically if you're bad at one of the events, like categorically, like if you're just not a grip person, you're probably never going to podium at the Arnold,
Sure.
Right? And this being a double grip show, I think that eliminates people right off the bat.
And before we get really to the nitty gritty here, how do you guys feel about 2 grip events in the Arnold?
It's my worst nightmare.
Yeah, it's weird. Like the stones, I think is cool because it's new, right? Like,
Right.
But it doesn't make sense to like keep the staple grip event when you're going for a new grip event. I would be curious why they did that. I don't know.
You guys are so polite and nice.
They're different skills. They're different. It's different grip.
I think
guess.
it's real dumb.
I don't really like it. No, but see, I'm in her boat too. Like I'd rather do 8 events.
Right.
With a variety, and if you catch 2 grips in 8 events, that's even uncommon. But 2 grips in 5 is crazy. So like right off the bat, like anyone who struggles with grip is out of the show.
Right.
Like half the show.
I was like, yeah. So, and with the deadlift being heavy, you can basically categorically eliminate people who aren't good at the deadlift.
You guys want to do like the whole predictions? Or you want to do like top 5, make things a little easier?
All I really know is the people who I think will solidly be in the hunt.
Yep.
So I think Singleton has no weakness in this show.
Sure.
I think the axle might be his only weakness just because of like how aggressive he is competing.
I was going to say, he might have one weakness, and it's his hype.
Yeah. And it's, I think the Apollone's wheel for reps is going to be more like, let's be calculated. Let's get 2 or 3. And he's like, I want 5.
Especially for 2.5 minutes. That's a long time to strategize.
And
He's certainly strong enough for 5.
Yeah. And his prep, he's gotten like so much cleaner at the axle. But like, if I had to say like what would be the Achilles heel, maybe that. Martins is a weird question mark because he's just coming off of a year of not really competing.
Right.
But I don't think he has a weakness in the show.
Technically speaking, he might be the most technical guy there.
Yeah. And he has experience on basically everything except the Apollons.
Right.
Novikov, I think, will be in it.
Oh, interesting.
I do, but I don't think he'll podium. I think he'll be in it solidly. Mm-hmm. I don't think he has an event that takes him out of the show, but I don't think he does well enough in any particular.
Oh.
He's coming off a elbow issue from last year.
A surgery.
Yeah.
He got a surgery on his elbow.
Is that recovered at this point, do you think?
I don't know if it's 400 for reps recovered.
I certainly don't think his pressing will be the best.
Yeah.
For either show, but we'll get to that.
So if I had to round out my list of people who I don't like categorically eliminate, it's Singleton, Martins, Novikov will be in the hunt, but I think he'll be out of it. Thor and Tom Stoltman. So shit, that's half.
So,
that's half the guys.
So those are the guys that you think are really fighting for that podium position.
I think Thor everyone's like really excited about Thor, and I am too. I think without a doubt he wins the deadlift, but like I just think being pec tear so recent, I don't know if, and like his foot speed on his training isn't super great, right? So like I think somebody like a Hooper or a Tom Stoltman edges him on that if they show up correct.
Okay. Is that your top then?
So then my 3, or then I think what I'm saying is my 3 is Singleton, Hooper, and Tom Stoltman.
So that's your podium right there.
Yeah, and Martins and Thor will be close enough that it's going to hurt.
Okay. You want to give us your Ohio men's top predictions, top 5 or so? Can you see?
Yeah, can we raise the list a little bit?
Mr. Producer, can we raise just a little
God
bit?
damn it, Braden.
You're a good man, Braden.
He's got to hold it out at arm's length.
So what are you analyzing?
think-
You're reading the names right now?
Yeah, I'm just going through the names, and I think that's a pretty solid bet for top 3. I think
Right.
the next couple places get a little tricky, but in terms of people on that list that don't have any glaring weaknesses in the show, yeah, I guess I would agree. Is that your order, your podium order prediction too?
My order, I'm gonna put Hooper at the top, pending how the axle goes.
Sure.
Cause, oh man, that's tough. No, I think I am. I think I'm gonna put him at the top. He made a statement on his YouTube that he doesn't feel a difference between fixed and non-fixed axles.
Well, he's about to learn.
Well, he's done both, but this I think is so much of a different implement. But if I think there's somebody athletic enough to just figure it out
Yep.
on the fly, literally between rep 1 and rep 2, it'd be him.
Sure.
So pending the axle, he's my pick to win. And I think Tom Stoltman, he is so damn peaked for deadlifting right now. I think I think Stoltman second, Singleton third. That would be my top 3.
Give me your
So-
top 3, yeah.
So we didn't talk about Mateus a whole lot. I know I think you kind of wrote him off because of the deadlift, but last year, despite the deadlift, he still took second, right?
He took 3rd place.
3rd place.
Second
so
place.
he-
Second
Second place.
Yeah, so
He
got
did edge it
second
out. I was
Even
I was gonna
with
say, I'm going to
the
get my
deadlift,
podium,
so
too.
Oh,
I'm
shit,
going to get my
dude.
podium.
I know.
might have him on podium still.
So give us your top 3, and then we'll share my opinion on this.
I'm going to say Hooper, Singleton, Mateus.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good bet, honestly. I don't see Tom Stoltman on podium because Tom has a notoriously bad grip when it comes specifically to frames. He's going to do probably well on the nickel stone, or what's not Denny stones, because he's done well in Giants live shows on nickel stones. It's fairly similar. But my podium from top to bottom will be Hooper, Mateus, yet again, number 2, which has got to suck so many times. And then I actually think for 3rd place, this is probably going to end up being... It's going to be a fight between Singleton and Martins, and I think it will come down to the overhead, because right now, Martins, he looks, watching his YouTube, he's technically better than any athlete doing the show right now, in my opinion. Like, the way that he moves, he has so much experience. However, I wouldn't say that he's in the best of shape he's ever been.
Sure.
Right? So if his fitness doesn't hold up, I could see Singleton
But
edging him out.
He does have the best grip on the list.
He has the best grip.
And it's 2 grips.
He also has probably the best tactical mind at the show next to Hooper. He knows how to compete well. The only thing that I could possibly see Singleton getting chopped up on is actually the stone press, because he's so muscle bound in his upper body that he might have an issue locking out that stone, whereas Martins, he's going to get it, and he's going to get it fast. And when it comes to stones and Martins, he's efficient.
I didn't even talk that event.
Yeah.
I didn't even think that event.
Yeah. So
Yeah, no.
So I think
has been good on the stone to shoulder, like
Yep.
the tombstone.
Yeah,
which
he owns it.
Yeah,
it's
like-
literally Martins' stone.
yeah. So like with a 2.5 minute event, I think it's really going to come down to who's the most efficient with getting those reps at the end, given that you
And
don't
Mateus-
get the buy-in with the.
And Mateus is good at.
Yeah. So I got.
I think I'm wrong.
Yeah, you might be. So that's pretty much our predictions, right? It's fair to say.
Yeah. I'm gonna.
It's a close show. There's a lot going on there.
Well, so I think with all these lists, all 4, I think what makes it interesting is because everyone's so good and there'll be like a super small margins. I think you can still consider like 5th a great event, which historically, like if you're Hooper or Thor, you're not happy with 5th.
Right.
But like I think the person who wins the show has a couple 4ths and 5ths.
What do you think, Aaron?
I think it's possible. I think it's possible. I don't see someone running away with this show. Like the Arnold's usually like a 2-horse race, and I don't see that happening again.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 4-horse race until the grip events, and then things get real dicey. That's what I think. I think the grip events are going to be a lot harder than a lot of these guys anticipate. And for those that are even good guys, even for the really talented guys, like for example, I think Martins will destroy the frame. I think he's going to struggle on the Dinnies.
Yeah.
Because not everyone has that same grip for that sort of, it's a different thing.
And do you think that grip is like the limiting factor on the Denny's?
I think the hook grip specifically, because guys who have incredible crushing power, who can carry frames and farmers quite easily, if they aren't experienced with hook gripping in terms of endurance, it means nothing.
Yeah. And I think Maxime is going to throw a wrench in both of those two events.
Oh, he's going to crush.
He's an absolute problem. And I think if he could figure out how to clean the axle, which he hasn't posted anything since his first session.
He's not an
I
axle
know
guy.
he could be one of the best pressers on the list. I haven't seen him do a lot of axle cleaning. He's like attacking it way too much. So,
all right. So you're quick, gun to head, go. Top 3, just say it.
Top 3. I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna go Hooper still winning. I'm gonna go Mateo second. I'm gonna go Singleton third.
What do you got?
I took Tom Stoltman out.
I'm sticking with what I said originally: Hooper, Singleton, Mateus.
All right. Nice, guys.
Okay.
Ladies show.
Women. All right.
Give
Aaron.
us your experience. Give us your detailed prowess.
Well, okay. No,
Very
actually,
educated.
no. I'm okay. I can start this.
You hang?
Okay. So we got Rebecca Roberts, Inez Carrasquillo, Lucy
was
Underdown, Carrasquillo.
There you go. Nailed it.
Got it. Okay. Olga, Victoria, Sam Beliveau, Donna Moore, Andrea, Hannah, Lindsay, AJ, Aaron, and Peacock. Okay.
Angelica Jardine. They might not know who it is.
Angelica Jardine, yes.
She's not as famous yet.
No.
will
Okay. So the only difference in events is the dumbbell versus the axle.
Yep.
Okay. So, given that, grip will categorically eliminate people a little bit as well. I don't like the dumbbell format that you guys have. You want to get into
strange.
It's strange, and I'm not a fan.
that? Yeah. It's a situation where it's like isn't it like they're trying to set like a rogue record?
Would you want to explain
Like
it,
a
Aaron?
previous-
You have more.
I-
You understand it.
I don't really get what they're
Yeah.
getting, what they're going after.
So I think it's because they want to try to beat Kristen Rhodes' dumbbell for reps record, which was 185 for 2.
She did it for 2.
Correct.
Failed the 3rd.
So I think it was originally, we were told it was going to be a max dumbbell, and then they kind of switched it. It's kind of hard to explain. There's like 4 dumbbell weight options, and we have 4 rounds to go through. And so every time you go up, you can pick a dumbbell. If you're successful, then you can go on to the next round and try to go for a heavier dumbbell. If you get to the point where you feel like you're at your max, you can elect to stop and do reps there. But if you stop and hit reps, then you can't go up anymore.
Gotcha.
If you go up and fail, then you can't go back down.
And that's them trying to avoid like massive ties, just like 4 groups of
Yeah.
people tied up.
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
try to avoid ties. And then the top dumbbell is going to be 185, with their goal being to break that reps record.
Sure.
So, give us your top 3 or 4, bud.
Okay. Top 3 or 4. I think with 2 grips, you have to put Roberts on the podium. She can be a middle of the pack-ish dumbbell presser, I think. She will be top 3 or 4 in the deadlift. And what is the one? The stones. She doesn't suck at stones, and she's done enough strongman that those skills are refined. So I would. Her and Victoria are the 2 that I am sure will be on the podium, pending Victoria not being her hamstring still being hurt.
Right.
She keeps her training pretty close to the chest. Admittedly doesn't like social media from everything I've ever talked to her about. But if Victoria is correct, I will never predict her off the podium in any show. The last one on the podium.
The dog fight for 3rd.
It is, and what's interesting is like usually with middleweights being in the show, I'd be like, well, the press and the deadlift is going to keep them out of the show. But in the case of women, the middleweights are basically almost better at dumbbell. Oh man.
Which I feel like that almost doesn't affect the points as much, because I know some of the middleweight women are phenomenal at dumbbell, are probably going to have those top
Sure.
spots. But just realistically, a lot of us, true middleweights don't really have a shot at the podium.
Sure.
So when you're talking
points
about the athletes that actually have a shot at the podium, those middleweights beating them, I don't think are going to skew their points that much in relation to the other athletes that they are actually
Sure.
gunning against.
How Where's Olga's deadlift? I'm ignorant to it.
Olga always has a fantastic deadlift.
Okay,
She always deadlifts well.
So I guess
Is that raw though? Because they're not doing any briefs or suits this year.
It was good enough last year for top 4 rather.
Briefs last year.
Yeah, so
I don't know. Everyone's a little bit different.
I'm never going to sell her out on a deadlift.
Sure. And how's her grip?
Terrible.
I don't know.
Near last on the frame last
she
year.
basically zeroed the frame last time. Not zeroed, but she only got it up.
Gotcha. Okay, so that takes her off for me, and I probably have to go, pending her not falling down 4 times. I think Inez.
She'll fall.
She will
She's
fall
good at
down.
falling.
She will fall down. She's gonna be in.
She's their teammate, so we could say that.
Yeah,
she's gonna fall.
She's gonna fall down.
I coach her too.
But like she has the potential to win the dumbbell. It just comes down to execution. Her grip is competitive enough. Like she'll be good on the frame, and then it'll come down to the dinnies. Deadlift, she'll be, if she does what she can do, she'll be in the hunt top half.
Yeah, ideally. That's her
Top
worst
half.
event.
Yeah, it'll be her worst event. And then the stones, if she doesn't just fall down, she could be the best at all 3.
She could win the stone event.
She could win the stone event. And if she wins the stone event, I think Nez is second. Maybe, I don't know. I have a hard time taking Roberts off of first for the show.
Roberts is a real killer.
I think,
however, I will say, Roberts, I would not describe as the best block presser / stone presser.
Sure.
And she could
be a goofy stone.
Could be a goofy stone for her, in which case you'd have to skip it, and that's a big point loss if someone else gets it easily.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't actually have to look at the rules, but I don't think it's a matter of you can just skip it and go on. I think you have to do them in order. So
if that's the case,
I think if you don't get the press, you don't move on.
If that's the case, that would be a new addition to that type of event, because last time you could skip something. But give us your top 3, 4 there.
On that event or
no,
overall?
the show
Overall.
for the women.
Yeah, I bet
You know,
for a bit.
I guess I would agree.
Wait,
with
you don't think Aaron's gonna win? That's so weird.
2 grip and 2 max events?
I think Aaron could PR and everything and do good. It's a big person, big event.
You saying she's not big?
No.
Yeah, she's not.
No.
And it's fine. Really, my thoughts going into the show were just I hope there's not max events or grip events. There's 2 of each.
Well, good luck, dude.
It's fine. The stones I'm excited for. I mean, I would agree with Roberts and Victoria 1 and 2. Like, it's just good shows for both of them. I don't really know how well either of them are on dumbbell, though.
I've never seen
weights.
Victoria do a dumbbell in a contest.
I don't think
in
I have
fact,
I don't
every
think I have either.
contest, every contest I've ever seen her in, look it up our Strongman archives, never had a dumbbell, so I can't compare.
I've never seen her do it in a contest. I've only seen her do one video recently training dumbbell, and I will say it didn't look comfortable.
Oh, didn't she say
She's
she
also-
hated it?
Yeah,
I think I saw that too.
It didn't look comfortable. She's also stupid strong. So like, like at what point is she just strong enough to not have the technique and still do well? But her and Roberts, I've never really seen them go heavy on dumbbell to know, where they'll stack up in that event.
Sure.
If anything's going to bump them down a little bit, I think it might be that.
Roberts is not the best dumbbell presser. She's not bad, but out of that group, I would not consider her the
I mean,
best.
it's heavy. 185 is
No, that's
heavy.
serious weight.
Like that's
Like if
significant.
1 or 2 people hit it, I wouldn't be shocked.
But go ahead, you were saying.
But yeah, I think I still have them 1 and 2. That third spot is really hard because I think Inez has all the physical ability to be on podium. I think it comes down to if she doesn't mess up or
It's classic Nez. Nez could win any show in the world if
Yeah.
she's not just goofing the gaff.
Especially with like her deadlift has come such a long way recently. It's looking better than it's ever looked. I think Nez could take second in the show if she just does what she's capable of doing. I think based on these events, I don't really know about the stone, but I mean Andrea did really well at a lot of these events last year. I think she took 3rd in the frame, 3rd in the deadlift. Like her grip doesn't suck. She's also great at dumbbell. I don't know how she'll do on the stone event, but
She's just experienced enough that she's probably a problem.
yeah. So
Well,
I would
that
say
said,
I would be between Inez and Andrea for that third spot.
Are we?
What was
Go
that,
ahead.
bud?
Oh, I was going to say, how off base are we in not mentioning Lucy?
Well, very off, in my opinion.
I know.
So
yeah, because
I would
she's
say
so good.
The only reason I didn't is because I've seen some of her dumbbell training recently, and
it's rough.
It doesn't look like it's going well.
She's not the best dumbbell presser. So this show is fascinating on the women's side, in my opinion, because so many of them are close.
Too tired to hold it up, Braden.
That's funny. So many of them are close in ability, right? And then obviously there's a few outliers. Nez's goofiness. This person maybe doesn't have the best grip. Whatever. But picking top 3 for this show is actually going to be quite difficult. I don't think Victoria's going to win. I don't. I think she's going to podium, but I think based on these events, if this person just puts it all together and does what she's capable of, I think Rebecca Roberts wins the show.
Yep.
There's too many events in her favor. There's and it's just too many unknowns for me to pick Victoria. Mostly being her grip endurance. I've never seen it, so I don't know, and I have seen the other ladies, and also I know her dumbbell isn't the best. And the reality is, not the reality, and I don't think Victoria or even Roberts is actually going to be on the 185. I don't think they're even going to attempt it, if I'm being honest. I think they'll get reps at the one lower, which is 168.
176.
176.
I think like swallowing the pride and just doing the reps there is probably the smart move.
It's the tactical move.
Yeah.
Just get the reps. The only woman I think will touch the 185 dumbbell is Beliveau on a Hail Mary attempt to ruin everyone's day.
You don't think Melissa?
I think she might try it. I think she's better off going for the lighter one. But
I don't know, man. I think
she's capable.
I think she's
185
capable too, man.
I'm not saying she's not capable. I'm just saying it's a big gamble, right?
Yeah.
Because that's going to be more than likely a PR, or at least near it, right? If it's not a PR for one, it's definitely going to be a PR for reps, assuming she goes for reps.
Yeah, because to be fair, like to your point of her doing the slightly lighter dumbbell, I think the most dangerous person on the list for dumbbell for reps is probably Peacock. If she selects the correct weight.
Right.
Right.
She's so good at getting reps. Her positions are fantastic. So my podium for that show, I think it's going to be Robertson first. I actually think, now that I'm looking at it, I think Andrea takes second. And I think what you're going to see And I think what you're going to see, because Andrea, good luck beating her on a heavy frame. She's so fast. I think the heavier it gets is better for her in the show.
And it's significantly heavier than last year.
Way heavier.
Like the times for last year?
Roberts will do great, but I think Andrea has better foot speed.
Sure.
So I think Andrea crushes the frame. I think Andrea crushes the press, the dumbbell. She's good enough to do well.
Yeah.
She's going to crush the deadlift. Her only potential in terms of like, I might lose a bunch of points here, is the stone medley, because she has a really difficult time loading, never mind even doing shoulder. Right, and without tack, without other things that people like to use for assistance, it could be problematic.
Could be.
Right, so I think Andrea might take second, and I think it's going to be a real fight between Victoria, Lucy, and Nez for third. If we're going off of averages and better experience, Victoria takes that third spot.
Sure.
Yeah, 'cause I guess I just thought, talking about the stone event, you're talking about skill. We kind of talked about the skill of being able to do that event. We haven't really talked a lot about the fact that it's over 2 minutes. Like, it's not just skill, it's also the conditioning to stay moving that entire time, and looking at the list and kind of trying to figure out who is conditioned enough to go for that entire 2.5 minute event. I think people will fall behind, not because they're not skilled, but because they get tired.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a lot in terms of what was it?
How do you feel about? I mean, you obviously can't train on the right stones. How do you feel about the weight selections for that event? Do you think they're pretty close? If the stones are good, in air quotes.
I personally, I think the loading and the shoulder are very appropriate. Me personally, I know when we first got the rules, it said that our stone press was going to be 150 to 160, and then we got our information a few days ago, and it's actually 185, which is a pretty significant difference on an overhead event. I think most of the strong presses will be just fine with that. I do think that's going to be a significant difference for some people.
What was your OSG block?
168.
Okay, and it's worse handles.
Yeah.
Tough.
And so it depends on how it depends on how the stone feels.
Yeah, but it's and then damn.
Big margins. And the thing is, the bulkier people in the upper body are going to mess that one up. That's why I think Roberts is going to have a real hard time locking that out. It's not going to be a true lockout. It's not, not putting it behind the heads.
I would put my winner of that, if it weren't for the press, I would put my winner of that event as actually being AJ.
Right.
Yeah,
if she didn't have to press.
Right.
She's having a hard time training that. I think AJ all weekend is just going to screw up points. Just crush people on things you won't expect her to.
I think Angelica, if she just plays her cards right, peaks well, she's good for top 5.
Yeah, she could.
She's good for top 5. And probably 5 or 6, 5th or 6.
And it
definitely has the ability to, as long as I mean, she's green to the sport, so I think her downside is just going to be like beginner mistakes, but she's physically capable of doing it.
I mean, I'll tell you something right now. Those girls are really lucky. It's not just a random stone load to series in some way form, because she will beat.
She might be the best.
She
in the
will
world
beat
with that.
any woman on the planet at a stone load, especially a natural stone load.
Yeah. Like if
No
it's
one will
just,
touch her.
you just have to be strong enough to grab it and load it.
Yeah.
There's nobody that can do what
She
does.
yeets.
Just one
things.
motion is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's our ladies. That was pretty hard to pick, honestly.
Yeah. And we could all be wrong because there's still 3 or 4 we didn't mention that are awesome. Damn it.
The points are going to get flipped around on
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of those events.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think we did basically just mention like the real proper open athletes. Like I think it's just a couple percentage points too heavy to really put those other people on the podium.
Yeah, we're missing probably 2 legit open girls that should be there, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. It's tough.
All right.
UK men.
UK men.
UK men.
You want to start the UK men this time? Let's see what you got.
Oh, events.
You know the events, right?
I do. Well, I'll run through them.
Yes.
Okay, so and I think this will actually be good for people watching because there's a lot of good information on the Ohio events, but I don't think the UK like official weights and stuff have been released to the public. I don't know if I'm allowed to.
Oh, you can.
No,
Fuck it.
I can. It's sent out. It's in an email.
Pull that mic into you.
Yeah. So there's the log, which will be the Trump style with the Austrian oak, so 430 or 385 for reps. Pretty long time cap. There is it's done on the Santa Monica farmers handles. We still don't know if it's like a frame setup or if they're separated as farmers handles. They did use the word frame, but they've told us it's 400 a hand, farmers for max distance, and we're only allowed to drop on the corners, which are 50 feet apart.
Yep.
Then there is the third event is the power medley, which I don't think the public really knows what that is. It's a 50-foot, 1,000-pound yoke into 3 dumbbells that are about 240, 260, 280, and it's a 2.5-minute time cap. So just an absurd event. They're doing the memorial weight throw, which would be just a traditional Highland Games weight over bar for height. And they're going to the only difference is they're using like a Rogue custom bag.
A replica of the actual throw.
Yeah, it'll be the same weights as a Highland Games
the
event.
Expo Center probably told them to go fuck themselves, throwing a real
Sure.
one in there.
Yeah, don't break our floor, please. And then the last one is deadlift for reps, and it's the exact weights they did at Santa Monica.
Which was?
771
on a
for
stiff
reps
bar.
on a power bar, and with no suits, I love that because, yeah, our European friends love their suits and their bendy bars. And yeah, so I like it. I'm good off the floor. Certain guys aren't. Yeah, just interesting events. And the women's events are all the same. They're just lighter. Yeah, right?
Yes.
Are they all the same?
It's the
They're all
exact same events.
Yep.
All right, so give us the old predictions for the men.
We're going to go through the list because we have some slightly different athletes. On
Yeah,
this
go.
one.
Why don't you read off the men's list there?
So a few differences. We have Novikov, Thor, the Stoltman brothers, Gavin Bilton, Lucas Hatton,
Who the fuck is that guy?
some nerd, Oscar, Mateus, Bobby, Maxime, and Hooper.
You don't want to say Oscar's last name?
Oscar,
Is it Zilkowski?
Zelikowski.
I feel bad because he's my friend, and I don't know how to
He's
say.
just-
He's very
he's just
Polish.
Oscar.
It's just Oscar. I've only ever called him Oscar.
Yeah. You want to give us your? Do you know much about these fellas?
Some, but there's a couple events in this show that I'm unsure of. I mean, the weight over bar, I think is going to be kind of a wild card because I don't think we really know who's going to be great at that.
Oh, I think we know who's going to be great.
I think there's a few obvious like who's going to stand out, but
Yeah, he was on Game of Thrones. He's
yeah,
pretty.
yeah.
He might have the world record.
He's all right. But kind of down the list, I think that's going to flip some points a lot. I mean, after Thor winning the event, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And then dumbbell, obviously, I know this guy's pretty good at dumbbell, but I don't know how most of these guys are because I know it's not really equatable to other presses. So I know who's a good presser on there, but those are the 2 events that are kind of throwing me off in terms of predictions
fair.
because I'm not really sure.
Why don't you give us your wild card then? You know, you don't have to know too much.
Let's see if I had to pick a podium, gut feeling. You know, honestly, with these events, I think I see Lucas on podium. I think these are all really. I think these are good. I think.
Shit.
I think if you can hang on the deadlift, I think the rest of the events are pretty good for you.
You said his name first. Wow.
He's one I know him best. I think. I mean, my gut wants to say Thor. I'm not sure how his log press is going to be right now with
Not good.
the pec tear. I think that's that might cause some problems. And I think you got to put Hooper on there. He just doesn't really seem to be bad at anything.
He's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
All right, so that's your top 3 there.
Yep.
Who do you think will be fighting for that 3rd spot, 3rd and 4th, before we move on to hat and picking?
I'm gonna say so. Hooper, Thor, 1st and 2nd.
Dude, you got demoted, dog.
Oh, I was never first. I don't think she didn't say the word first, and that would be irresponsible to do so.
So you're saying Lucas is going to fight with somebody.
Third, I would say Tom, but with that grip endurance event, I'm not.
And the dumbbell.
Not great at dumbbell.
He's
gotten better.
He's gotten better. But okay, so I will say this. So these dumbbell weights seem pretty egregiously heavy, but the guys who regularly do Rogue or Arnold events in the last few years are very used to very heavy dumbbells. So we have actually pretty good data on their dumbbell. I don't think doing it after the yoke really complicates things for anybody except Maxime because he struggles with the yoke. I think, I don't know.
Who do you got? Who's fighting for third? You got Lucas and who? Go with your heart.
Go with my heart. Mateus.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a fun little scrap there.
Yeah.
All right, Hatton. Give me your top 4, bud.
Oh,
of the show that you're in.
Okay. No, I do agree that there is a scenario where I can podium at the show. The yoke to dumbbell is the greatest gift ever given to me in the history of sports.
You're pretty good at that.
Yeah, those are my two favorite events put into one. But what sucks is a guy named Hooper is slightly better at both of those events, and they're his favorite too. I
actually think you're better at dumbbell than Hooper if we have strict judging.
Yeah, no, I think I can beat, especially like post.
No disrespect to Hooper, you're great, but whatever.
Post injuries, Novikov and Mateus, I think I can. I would not be worried about beating anybody on this list in dumbbell. I think I can if I execute. The log, I think I can be tied for first or first. The grip, that's the wild card for me, but I think it'd be top half, and that's fine enough. The weekend will come down to the throw and the throw and the deadlift. So they haven't been very clear on the format of the throw. If they do really small increases, like a 3-inch or a 6-inch, that changes the whole event. If they do 1 foot increments, we're going to have giant ties.
Which you would love.
I would love that. That'd be way better if I was just stuck in a huge group and the people above me was like Thor and Hooper, you know what I mean?
Sure.
We don't have great data on the throws for these guys, but like a lot of these guys like Tom and Luke have done Highland Games before.
We could assume Tom could throw high.
Yeah. I think that will be almost in the order of people's heights is the order of that event. And I just have to train the hell out of it to jump 1 or 2 above me, right?
All right, so give us your top 3, bud.
I'm working towards it. I've thought about this a lot because I'm in the show. No, I think Hooper is our likely winner pending the Farmers.
Sure.
Farmers could kill his weekend because, Farmers could kill his weekend, but I think to count him off the top is a mistake. And I think, I think dumbbell and the grip keep Tom off the podium. I think 2 presses keeps Thor off the podium, but he has for sure 2 event wins.
Say, is the pec tear on the side of his dumbbell arm?
Yes. He's a lefty, and he tore his left.
Yes.
Ooh, might take him off podium.
Right. So I think he'll be, but I think he wins the deadlifts aside. Maybe Hooper gets him. Hooper's great at reps.
Hooper's good at reps.
Right.
However, Hooper is dealing with a hamstring tear right now, and his top single so far only in training has only been 880.
Yeah. But I'm not going to count him out on reps. I mean, and then Bobby's there too. Bobby could win that event as well. And I think the grip and the throw keep Bobby off the podium.
Grip more so than the throw, I'd say.
Grip more so than the throw
because
he's explosive as hell.
You could throw well.
I mean, and you know what? Like 2 presses, the speed of the yoke isn't going to be as super relevant.
He'll be top 3 in that yoke event, I bet.
He will. So I actually think the guys I'm confident with. The only one I'm actually confident with is putting Hooper in first. And then I think it's myself, Bobby, Thor, and Mateus. I think the deadlift is light enough that he stays in the hunt. And having guys like Maxime and Oscar there make it so that his typical last in deadlift is not last. So I think that would be Hooper in first, myself, Bobby, and Mateus.
So you're saying you're taking second?
No, I'm saying that I have no confidence beyond first place of what the fuck's going to happen.
So you're just refusing to say.
No,
Okay.
I'm putting those. Okay, if I had to, if I do everything that I can and I get a good like format of the throwing event, I think I can get second.
Okay.
And it'll come down to it'll come down to every single rep of the deadlift.
Yes.
However that falls, banking on some guys being a little tweaked from Ohio. A lot of these guys have outright said they're not prepping for UK. Well, guess what? Me and Gav Bilton really are.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean? Because this is our shot. And that, I think, is going to play to our advantage. But a lot of these guys are just good enough and experienced enough that, like, I don't think it matters a ton. But, yeah, that's where I'm at. So, Hooper first. I think there is a scenario where I get second. But Bobby, Mateus, Thor, Tom Stoltman, all going to be right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've already given yours, right? Spaced out. All right, my top 3 for the men in England. You sound like you're from London. That show. Hooper's going to win. That's just what he does. Assuming his hamstring's totally okay. Like, hopefully he does nothing crazy in Ohio. But dude's great. Yeah, I think more than likely Hooper wins. I think this is actually a fantastic show from Mateus. A really good show, actually.
It is.
It's a phenomenal show from Mateus. In fact, I actually could even see Mateus, depending on how Hooper's throw goes and his hamstring feels, there is a possibility where he wins the show. Because he'll log. I think that's all right. You can disagree.
I do.
I think
I'll break down the math of why you're wrong in a second.
Sure. I think he will, if he's training it at all, which I think he could get 1 rep on the log, and that's enough. And I think that will seal the weekend for him.
Sure.
Because he'll crush the frame, he'll crush the throw, he'll crush the yoke and the dumbbell. He'll get just enough points of the yoke and dumbbell, probably take 3rd or 4th, which is just enough. What else is there that I'm missing? And then there's just the farmer.
The farmers?
Farmers, I think crush the
I think
throw.
he beats-
Yeah. And then the deadlift, he'll do terrible. But he'll beat certain guys.
In what you just said, Mateus only beats Hooper in 2 of those events. He beats him in the farmers.
Yeah.
He beats him in the throw.
Yeah.
He's not beating him in the log.
No, well, that was me saying
he might beat him.
if Hooper's feeling not the best. If things tweak.
Yeah,
You know what
true.
I mean?
But
So that's
like,
it could happen.
I think a tweaked Hooper still is like 5 positions ahead in the deadlift.
Could.
And I don't see anywhere where Mateus can get 5 positions on it.
Sure.
5 more points.
Well, that's just like I said, I think Hooper will win, but Mateus could do it, I think.
We've also seen Mateus do well on like the frame carry for speed, being an endurance event.
Yeah.
You think he'll do just as well?
Yeah, he does not have weak hands. If you ever watched Ultimate Strongman World Title, they had a farmers that was, I want to say, 375 a hand, something egregious. For it wasn't even 100 feet. It was like 100 yards.
This is egregious.
It was a football field that he ran the entire field.
Sick.
Yeah, he's got mittens. So that said, I think Lucas is really going to be fighting Gav Bilton for 3rd.
Dude, yeah, that's true.
So I think him and
I didn't put enough respect on
him
Gav
and
Bilton.
Gav, because
I apologize for that.
Gav could throw hard.
He's not going to watch this.
Gav, I'll send it to him. Gav could throw hard. Gav could deadlift. Gav could log just enough. He won't hit the 430. Gav is good enough on frame, and what's the other event that I'm missing?
Yoke and dumbbell. He can yoke.
And he could yoke well, and his dumbbell isn't terrible. I think he'll get just the 2nd dumbbell, and if he does it, good enough.
Getting 2, I think, is going to be more valuable than people realize.
Well, it is. So I think you'll be fighting Gavin for 3rd place.
Yeah, especially being one of the few guys that's not doing the Arnold, Ohio a couple weeks before.
But that said, Gav is prepping for Europe's Strongest Man, which is only 2 weeks after this show.
Yes.
So he's dual prepping.
Depends on what he's prioritizing.
Sure.
Depends. He just
It
got
does.
off. He just got off Britain's, right? So he did
came-
very different events,
And he came correct
and he
to
came
that show.
incredibly fit. That said, I personally believe Gavin is going to prioritize Europe's over.
I don't think so. He's already qualified for Worlds. He doesn't have a reason to. I
he
think
does.
this prize
He
purse
does.
is bigger.
He does have a reason to. His reasoning is Tom Stoltman won't be at Europe's, and
He wants himself.
and he
a
wants
Europe
to win that title.
European title.
So
Yeah, no. To amend what I said, God damn it, dude! It's like it's these shows is Hooper out front and like 4 or 5 guys just at war.
yeah,
For each individual point, and I was wrong to not have Gav in there. And
Also, the only reason why I'm not picking Luke for 3rd, just outright beating you,
sure,
because of the deadlift.
That's true because I think me and
Deadlift and frame.
I think me and Gav can both beat him.
I think you both
in
can beat
the
him on deadlift, and you both will beat him on the
Can
frame.
beat him in his hands.
That's it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would get
Because
you both.
Luke is really, really in shape right now, and he's not doing Ohio, and he can press.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Jesus.
It's a fun show.
That's what happens when you get a great lineup, though.
Yeah, it's what the fans want.
Yeah.
It's the best lineup ever.
Yeah, it's so much better because usually you can look at a show and be like, those two,
Right.
those three, and it's like, you just can't. You just can't. Like, I could see a scenario of Gav Bilton getting second. I could see him, I could see Tom getting second. I could, there's a way it could happen. There's only one or two guys where I'm like, you're not going to podium.
Right.
And you know what? They could be looking at me and saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And they might be right. Because I could PR and everything and get seventh.
Yeah.
It could happen.
We still
just
be
with
stoked.
how good these guys are. And like really the best way to go into the show is just like comparing to my own PRs and expectations, and we'll see how it falls. But I want a podium. I think I could podium. But yeah, no, I could do perfect and get seventh and welcome to the show. Right.
All right, ladies. Why don't you start with the ladies? We had her start with the men's.
Okay. With these events, dumbbell again. Yoke, I don't think yoke is even going to be a factor for anybody. Is there anybody who's like categorically just
Nadia.
But with 2.5 minutes, do you think it matters?
Yeah, I'd say like the people I think that might not be as fast on the yoke are going to finish the dumbbells. So it doesn't.
Sure. Yeah.
Does it matter that much?
Yeah.
When you have 2.5 minutes, like you can take as much time as you want on the yoke, really, if you're going to finish.
Mm-hmm. The grip is much different. Adding Nadia into this mix is interesting, especially in that dumbbell event, because she's going to do the yoke kind of slow, but she's a predictable one to finish all three dumbbells.
And she'll crush the log.
She'll crush the log. She'll crush the deadlift. I don't know how she throws, because this is different than like a bag series. She's a very long human.
If she could stay put, meaning not a series, she's a great thrower.
So Nadia is a problem.
It's a good show for her.
However, I don't think Nadia is getting. I think she's going to miss the heavier log.
I don't.
think?
She
I
just hit
don't.
300 pounds.
Hey, she's never hit 300 pounds.
In the gym.
On a log?
Yes.
When?
Like last week.
Very recently.
And
Yeah.
they weighed
missed
it
it.
on camera.
Good for them.
It's
Yeah, I
Jacob's
missed
gold.
that.
Jacob's
Yep.
gold log.
Oh.
She smoked it,
Never mind. She might get reps.
dude. She's gonna get reps.
She's looking strong.
She's strong as hell right
Good
now.
for her.
Okay,
What'd you do?
put some spite in her heart.
Pissed her off. You stole her hair and you pissed her off. Now she's coming back fierce.
No. Oh God. Okay. So, and you know what? Like, she's not a fast farmer's person, but she has good hands. Like
I don't think it matters for this.
I think her hands can handle it.
She'll be fine just because it's not.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, whoever can just. Is it a minute time cap?
Yeah,
on that?
just back and forth.
Whoever can just go the entire minute is.
Yeah,
gonna place
whoever's
high.
closest to
There's only two girls that could do that. I think it's her and Roberts.
whoever's closest to
going.
3 or 4
Yeah.
full lengths, probably 4 full lengths, or approaching 4 full lengths.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, I think okay. So gut feelings. You know what? I also think in this show, I think Peacock is closer to the top than I predicted her in the other show.
Except for the farmers. She is
Does she got bad hands?
Bad grip.
I don't know.
Bad
I'm
grip.
ignorant to it.
bad grip. Relatively speaking.
Yes. Okay. So my question really is, who has no bad events?
The Terminator.
Victoria, Roberts,
Again, kind of pending
Dumbbell,
how she is on
yeah.
dumbbell, though. We don't really know.
pending dumbbell. Yeah, that's her question mark for both shows. Victoria, Roberts has no weaknesses. Does Nez have a weakness in this show?
Nez's weakness in the show is probably the deadlift.
Probably the deadlift.
Yeah.
And you know what? Nadia will beat her in the deadlift.
It's possible.
It's possible. It's going to happen.
I'm thinking the last time Nadia had a deadlift for reps was in Giants Live. She did 484 for 5 repetitions on an axle. This is a stiff bar. It's a less cumbersome setup. We could assume she's good for 4 to 5 reps, I would say. Possibly more if she's that much
So
stronger
is
right now.
So could Nez. That's not out of range for Nez.
Nez pulled 500 for 5 2 weeks ago.
I think she will be recovered enough after.
Ohio.
Ohio.
Potentially a 600-pound death march.
It might not. Might not.
Okay.
Because, I mean, Nadia has the advantage there of being
Okay.
more rested going into the show.
Gut feeling. I'm going to go Roberts again.
Oh.
Yes. I'm going to go Roberts again with the win if she can get the big log. which
Right.
I don't know. If
She missed it last year.
If Roberts gets the big log, she wins the show.
Okay.
If not, then I think that moves her to like third.
Oh.
I think it does. And the rest of my podium is Victoria and Nadia.
Oh, interesting.
It is.
Wow, you throw Nadia up on
I
there.
am. I think Nadia, and I think shortly behind them is Nez and Peacock. Oh, I might be wrong.
Wait, you didn't say Aaron. Why didn't you say that one?
And again, I did the same thing on this list as I did the first one. I didn't mention Lucy at all, and that's a mistake.
Lucy's very good.
Because she can win the deadlift. She's probably
She's going to win the deadlift.
She's going to win the deadlift. She's long.
She'll do great on the throw.
Explosive on the throw.
Great on the throw.
How is she at log and dumbbell?
Her log is not the best, and her dumbbell is not the
That's
best.
2 events that knock her down.
That's tough. Yeah, it's the same thing we said with the men in the first show. It's like if you're bad at 2.
I wouldn't say she's bad. I'd say this girl's
I know, but like if
better.
you're 5th in 2, are you still in the hunt?
Right.
Because I don't see Nadia or Victoria being less than 4th in anything.
Yeah.
Right? And Roberts could be top 4 in everything, except maybe the log. Because like a Peacock, I think she can hit the big log.
She probably will.
Yeah, right?
How is she at throwing?
Peacock, probably.
She doesn't suck really at anything.
I would never describe her as a world-class thrower. She did Worlds 2019, and there was a throw, I believe. Right? There was a throw OSG 2019.
The year
and
can be one?
And
No.
It was the year Tommy Lavelle won the world title. She did okay. It's not something I would consider a strong suit for her.
I mean, there is a very clear height advantage on
Sure.
that. I
And
think a
she's
lot
what,
of the
5'5"?
She's shorter than I am.
So she's
I'm
5'4".
5'6", so
yeah, 5'4", 5'5".
Yeah. Very dangerous in phone booth.
But
I
yeah.
think
2 feet in the ground. Also a
yeah,
good
I
mover,
think
too.
great events for her besides that one. I think is kind of the only one.
So
but
she's only got 1, so she's
Yeah.
still in the hunt.
yeah.
But yeah, I think it comes down to who doesn't have a bad event. So go for it, Aaron.
Yeah, I don't think Roberts has a bad event. I don't know if she'll be close enough to the top on the presses.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, she
wouldn't say-
could be 5th in dumbbell.
Yeah.
Shit.
Because I
She
mean, some
could.
of the the middleweight athletes I think kind of mess up the points there because we have Sam again who's really great at dumbbell. Donna's really great at dumbbell. We
Andrew's
haven't
good at-
talked a whole lot
Andrew's
about
good at dumbbell.
Andrea for this, but I think the throw is going to keep her.
She's only got
off
one
podium.
bad. She's only got one bad event. It's just a throw. So she's in the hunt.
I really
She could take last in it, though.
She could take last in the throw, but it depends on the jumps. If they open at the wrong height, 5 girls could 0, or 5 girls could tie at the opening height and they jump by a foot, and 5, nobody moves on. That throw, the format changes that whole event. And then in Highland Games too, they'll do
Whoever got it first.
Yeah, they'll go like like if I clear 16 feet, I do it my first try. It's 16. I don't know what
Clean.
the term. 16 clean.
Clean.
I hit it on the first try, but if Aaron hits on the second try, I win the tie.
Right.
I don't know if they're going to do that rule, but they said it's like max attempts in 30 seconds.
Yes. So I doubt it.
So I doubt it. So there could be ties based on the format.
That's what you're saying. Where you at?
Sorry, we could.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to go through and think of who doesn't have weaknesses here. I don't think Nadia has any weak events in this show. Looking through.
Nadia's weekend is going to come down to one thing, in my opinion. It's going to come down to if any of the girls can complete the dumbbell series, which we know there are that can, how many of them complete it. Because the reality is Nadia's going to be very slow in the yoke. She's not a good yoke. Nadia either does yoke in 2 seconds or 38. There's no in between, right? The consistency is rough. So if 4 girls just beat her to it just because they got there faster, that's a lot of points lost.
True, but I think the girls that might beat her at that on speed are going to be
how
further
heavy is the
behind
last
anyways.
dumbbell?
165.
I think that's light enough that, like,
And I think
to
that-
his point, I think there's 3 or 4 girls that can hit that without loading up too much.
True, but it only matters if the girls that beat her are ones that were in contention for those podium spots. Anyways,
Well, I think 4 of them will be.
Yeah,
I think 4 or 5 of them will be. So that's the one thing, in my opinion, is the one hang up for Nadia. Otherwise, she's very good to podium.
yeah. She doesn't really have any weaknesses. It's just going to come down to
Sure.
speed on that one.
Ah, dude, Nadia could win.
If she has a good,
I think
if she has
Nadia
a
could
really good
win.
weekend, I think it's not impossible.
No, which would be wild as being like a 200-pound athlete, which I
She's
imagine.
not 200 pounds.
She's like 185 right now.
Like, does she have to cut that hard? when she does?
No.
Not really.
No,
she walks around pretty lean.
She normally walks at 82, and she's bulked a bit. You were saying because you just trained with her out in California.
Yeah.
And
She's looking big and
she
stronger now.
admittedly told you she's bulked for this.
I don't know if it intentionally bulked, but I know her weight's a little bit higher. I don't know if it was intentional or not. But
I'm gonna assume it is.
She looks strong, and then same as the other 3 lists.
Give us your 3. Who is it?
Oh man,
I'm gonna say Victoria Nadia Roberts.
It's a fun list. It's a fun one. Yeah. I think that's pretty accurate to what could happen. I mean, Nadia could have a real breakout performance, which would be pretty fun to watch as a fan, at least, not as a coach. But yeah, I'm going to say my top 4. This is a hard show to predict. I hate dumbbell, but
are you trying to work your way to how Inez does it? Because I know you've been planning this for months. How she does it?
yeah, I think what we'll see is Victoria on the podium. She will get reps on the heavier log. The dumbbells are light enough that she should be totally fine. She's going to crush souls in the deadlift besides Lucy. She's going to do perfectly fine on that frame. And she's the third tallest woman there. So the throw will be just fine. I think Victoria wins the show based on just consistency outright.
Sure.
I think the other 2 people are very good, but will make mistakes. I think in second place, what you'll more than likely see out of pure experience will be more than likely Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
I think Roberts is smart enough to get enough reps on the lighter log to take 5th, and that will be her worst placing, and then the rest she'll be top 3.
Sure. Sure.
And then in third place, you will see a dogfight between Nadia and Nez. And that's what I think will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming Nez doesn't do her Teletubby dance and roll around at some point. I think she's good for third at the show with Nadia. If Nadia beats Nez on the deadlift, I think that would probably solidify her third place.
Mm-hmm.
Or if she does the throw just well enough.
Sure.
It's hard to pick someone who's 5'4" over someone who's 6'1" in a throwing event. But if she does just well enough, she could pull it off.
She could pull it off. That's true.
yeah, I think it's whoever has a better weekend. I think both physically capable.
And I think you're going to do a really good job.
Thanks.
It just isn't a show for you. Neither one of these shows are for you.
No.
No.
It'll be fun.
It'll be super duper fun. You don't suck. For those that might not know, she doesn't suck, I promise. She's the world's strongest woman.
I'm just small.
You're just not. These are just not your events. You could put this in an 82 kilo woman show, and I'd shake your hand, like good luck, but yeah, no.
Yeah.
However, I do think. I tell you what. I bet you could pull 6th or 5th of this show.
I would be thrilled.
That'd be
Hyped.
good.
I'd be hype about 5th
We're going to
place.
be losing our goddamn minds when
Yeah.
they announce
I can
5th.
come upper half.
No
That'd be
idea.
sick.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. You drew better this show than you will in Ohio.
Yeah, and I think really ultimately it comes down to how well my hands are recovered by then.
Yeah.
And my grip is notoriously either super there or super not.
You just need a lot longer time to recover than most in your hands. That's
Sure.
just kind of what we learned
Yeah.
about your peaking.
Sure.
Because you don't suck. Like if it's an 82 kilo show, your grip is awesome. Like
Yeah.
you're now not forever, but you're now constantly in the top 3 in any grip event at 82.
Yeah.
But open is a different thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
It's come a long way. I mean, at OSG, Nadia's the only one that beat me on that frame
Yeah.
stone medley. It doesn't suck, but I mean, the frame this year is like 100 pounds more than the frame last year. They
It's
bumped
gonna
that
be
weight up a
hard.
lot.
It's gonna
And I
change
think we're
things.
going to see a lot of women not finishing it.
Many won't. Many won't. Yeah. Nice.
And I think that's the magic of that event when they find the sweet spot of most people won't finish. That's when that event is cool again.
Yeah.
I think it's any drag race moving event. I think is just kind of
It is what it is.
it is what it is. I don't think it's as good. It doesn't match the Arnold.
No.
Okay.
That's a whole lot of predictions. That being said, is there anything you guys, before I guess we're done because we basically did everything, is there anything that you guys really, really like about these two shows and things that maybe in the future hope change?
Ooh.
I
You're in
mean-
both, so go ahead.
I mean, selfishly, I would like more athletic events because that's my strong suit. So, like, selfishly, as someone
And don't
doing
go to the
these shows-
Arnold, nerd. No, I'm playing. Sorry.
No, the events are cool. I think 2 grip events in a show is kind of boring. Personally, I think that's my only big gripe. The rest of it is just personal preference stuff.
Yeah.
What do you like about the two?
I mean, the events are cool. I'm really excited for the Trial by Stone event. I think that's really cool. That's going to be really fun to watch. As much as I personally don't love it, the yoke dumbbell event is cool. Like things that'll be fun to watch. I think those are my personal favorite events as a fan.
Sure.
Yeah.
Same question, bud.
Yeah. No, I don't like the 2 grips. I think that's a mistake in a 5-event show. But I kind of like I think we mentioned it in the first one when we were talking about our favorite Arnold events. We talked about kind of looking at the history of the Arnold. The Arnold is kind of the same events all the time. But what I think a better way to put it is the Arnold, when they find something they like, they do it enough that they create their own history, right? Like there's many years of the frame to compare. There's many years of the Austrian oak to compare. Like, and I think that's cool. Like, you know, you talk trash. Like it's kind of like, oh, it's a rogue record. It's a world record. What is it? Is it a record on a thing we only own? But I think if you do it long enough, it's its own history, and I think that's really cool. And I'm excited to go to Austrian oak, right?
Do you think we're going to see any world records?
Well, what sucks, like at the current weight of the Austrian oak, I think like the top amount of reps is 3 or I don't know if Trey got 4.
Trey did not get 4.
Are you sure?
No.
He did.
Did he
I
get
think
4?
Trey got 4,
I think
dude.
he did.
At 4:30, I think he did. I think
won
he did.
the event. I think
he won
two
the
guys
did
got
he won the
get
event
4.
outright, and Hooper and I know Bobby for sure got 3, and
He got 4.
Trey
Yeah,
won the
he got
event.
4,
however.
yeah.
So 4 reps. I don't think anybody beats that. I don't.
Yeah, he did. He got 4.
The Denny carry is the only thing. I think the frame up the ramp, we see a world record. I think Hooper's fast enough if you can just hang on to it. I think Mateus is fast enough to beat himself. He will for sure hang on to it. Maxime could do that. The Denny's in a full show, that's a fun thing to try to break.
After a frame the day before.
Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. But other than that, like, what else could be a world record? Like,
On the women's side, I do think
The deadlift.
Sam is capable of beating the dumbbell record.
sure,
The deadlift. It's a
The
potential
deadlift.
record.
women's deadlift could fall. I mean,
I think
it
women's
just,
deadlift, I think, will.
yeah.
Yeah.
Lucy's taking that home with her.
Yeah. Do you think you think there's any, the other girls are close enough to Lucy to push her to 700?
I don't
Do you
think
think she has to do 700?
I think, depending on how recovered Victoria is, I think she could have hit 700 last year if they had let her take another attempt.
Sure. No, I believe that.
Because I think she ended with 650 and it looked like a warm up.
A joke.
So I think she is capable of it. I think that comes down to how recovered her hamstring is.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to see that. I'd love
That'd
to
be
see
cool.
2 people with an attempt left and they both done like 660.
Yeah.
Yeah, men, I don't think Thor has a reason to do it. And I think
Yeah, because who's going to push him to that point?
I don't know. I there's also the side of things where I think Rogue, I could see Rogue paying some money to hit a big deadlift.
Well, they've offered in the past at previous Arnolds
Sure.
$50,000 to break the world
Well, I know,
record.
but I'm talking like a personal deal, and 'cause,
Oh,
like
sure.
this whole thing is marketed as Thor's comeback. I don't know what kind of personal deals they have with him. Like, you know, maybe he has an incentive to do bigger. Maybe Lucy does too, because like any promoter would love to see a 700 deadlift for the women's side. Yeah, I don't know. Cool.
All right. Well,
Think we're good.
thank you for joining us. That was super duper fun
Thanks.
to Lucas and Alex
Yeah.
front porch.
Let's remember, this is just sports commentary.
We're just having fun.
it's just
We like
sports.
everybody.
just like ESPN.
You're all gonna
We're
do
not
good.
talking trash.
It's just sports, guys.
I'm
it's
not
okay.
I'm not aware of all your training and all the past accomplishments.
Sure, you're awesome.
It's a blanket no offense.
It's
I,
just
I have been wronged by none of you in the past. You're good people.
me neither. It's a good time. Don't worry about it. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.
All right. Thanks, guys.